Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to use this opportunity to thank you all very much for the kind words that have fallen here about me. These have been very interesting lectures. I was reminded when Barbara Cole was talking about sound money and Thor Whitehead was talking about Franklin Delano Roosevelt, what Roosevelt said about sound money. Oh yes, I am for sound money and plenty of it. And that's not really what we should be doing. Then I was also reminded of a rather cruel saying in a way when I listened to the extraordinarily interesting accounts of Georgia and Ukraine. The saying, if you do not have a seat at the table, you will be a part of the menu. This is something which is horrifying, but actually quite true. However, when I'm talking about tables and menus, I cannot resist telling you that I see here in the audience two friends of mine, Kjartan Gunnarsson and Björn Bjarnason, and we had a wonderful dinner on the 30th of April 1991 with our closest friend, Davíð Oddsson, who was forming his first government, and we were young and hopeful, and fortunately, some of our hopes were fulfilled. Very nice time. The next day was actually a holiday, but on the 2nd of May, somebody called the Prime Minister's office and said, because the predecessor of Davíð Oddsson was a left-winger called Steingrímur Hermannsson, who really believed in public spending, and spending a lot, throwing money at problems instead of solving them. He asked the switchboard lady, is Prime Minister Steingrímur Hermannsson here available? Well, he is not available. He is no longer the Prime Minister. And then the next day, the same person called the Prime Minister's office, is Prime Minister Steingrímur Hermannsson available? No, he is no longer the Prime Minister. And then the third day, the man called and he said, is Prime Minister Steingrímur Hermannsson available? No, he isn't, and actually I've told you, and this is the third time I'm telling you, he is no longer the Prime Minister. Oh, I just like so much hearing this, the man said. And this was only one of the dinners that are memorable. Another one is, and I see here in the audience Stephen Masito, who was a member of the Hayek Society at Oxford University that we formed, and I asked Hayek for permission to found the Hayek Society and use his name. And he said to us, well, I will give you, I'm delighted that young people are interested in my ideas. I will give you permission to use my name if you make a promise to me. And the promise is that you will not become Hayekians. Because I've noticed that the Marxists are much worse than Marx, and the Keynesians are much worse than Keynes. So we made that promise. I haven't really been able all my life to fulfill it totally, but I'll tell you where I am trying not to be a Hayekian in a way, because I come from a small nation, and therefore we in Iceland, we are natural nationalists in a sense. Nationalism has got a bad name because of the 20th century. But I think that we can distinguish between good nationalism and bad nationalism. The good nationalism is just the reaffirmation of our common identity and heritage that we have, for example, the Icelanders. We share a very valuable heritage of 1100 years. We have a very strong common identity. It's a totally non-aggressive nationalism. The other one is the militant nationalism that's built upon arrogance and militancy. And we can actually see the conflict between the two kinds of nationalism precisely in Ukraine, because the Russian nationalism is a militant, aggressive nationalism that wants to is built on conquest, whereas the Ukrainian nationalism is a reaffirmation of Ukraine as a nation with a special heritage and history that should be respected and with a common identity. So I know that Hayek, like my other intellectual master Popper, they were both very hostile to or critical of nationalism, and they were right, but they were also wrong. So I refuse to be a total Hayekian in this sense. Now, I wanted just to say one more thing, because I wanted to be a little bit original, like Hayek wanted us to be. So, I am not accepting the presents. I'm giving you a birthday present, because everybody who wants to can get a copy of the book 24 Conservative Liberal Thinkers, which is waiting outside. But there's also another thing waiting outside, and that is on wine to cheer us up. And Kjartan Gunnarsson, my friend, he will take over the direction after reception. So now I am done, except that I'm getting a surprise.
So because you are giving, we are also giving. So these are flowers from the Faculty of Political Science with heartfelt thanks for your service. And there's also a gift for your like a birthday gift from
your colleagues.
Yes.
And I understand it's sound money, so you have to be careful.
This only shows what the old Chinese sage said. The main point in life, because I'm giving and I'm accepting it, is reciprocity. Thank you very much.